President Obama will be here tonight at Navy Pier for a fundraiser.
Why don't you call in?
So I called in.
Unfortunately, he called my bluff, and Jason Knowles is calling in.
And it looked amazing. Can you give me a little bit of a hint as to what your final show is going to be? Everybody's wondering.
You're with WLS-TV. Why Chicago?
Well, Brancheau is from Northwest Indiana, which is in our viewing area. Well, I'm feeling a little bit set up. I was all scripted and ready to go to talk about a hard news story coming up next. Check this out. Look what I found in my bag here. Tow warmers. And we even have four-wheel drive on our Explorer, and we had some troubles. Rahm Emanuel just held a campaign event here in Ravenswood to show his support for small businesses and the growth of new technologies. I tried my best. It was extremely hard. My heart was pounding. That headline is getting the attention of about 10,000 people who are here at the convention center in Rosemont. You mentioned my shoes, so I'm glad you did say something about them, because here they are. Here are my dance shoes. Blagojevich hit the airwaves from 5 to 9 this morning. He talked politics and slammed Governor Pat Quinn's income tax increase. I also called into the morning show to ask him about his upcoming retrial. Rob Blagojevich walked into the ABC7 lobby around 4:30 this morning to host the Don and Roma show on WLS-AM. What do you plan on talking about?
Just filling in for Don White and Roma, and it's kind of like the third-string quarterback filling in for Jay Cutler.
This is his second time hosting the show. Just last week, his attorneys filed a motion to ask the judge in the case to cancel the retrial, and in exchange, he'd agree to take a sentence on the one charge he was found guilty of in the first trial, lying to the FBI. Are you going to talk about that on the show?
I think there's a lot of other issues people want to talk about, but I'll talk about anything. So we'll see how it all shakes out. Why don't you call in?
So I called in.
Unfortunately, he called my bluff, and Jason Knowles is calling in.
What are your attorneys telling you?
Well, I don't know, and I let them do their motions and presume nothing, assume nothing, ultimately trust in the truth, and then hopefully in the system.
Blagojevich also talked about plenty of political issues, including collective bargaining rights of public employees in Wisconsin and the recent 67% income tax increase in the state of Illinois to fill the budget shortfall. He said Governor Quinn was a wimp who socked it to the people.
I was then hijacked from office. Pat Quinn got there, and he made a deal with them that he was going to sock it to the people and solve the problems of government on the backs of the hardworking people of Illinois and the small businesses and mid-sized businesses.
By 8 a.m., Blagojevich's wife, Patty, arrived to help host the final hour of the show.
My husband's the star of the show here, so I'm just coming in to keep him company.
Both of them talked about Rod's corruption charges, being ousted from office, the upcoming retrial, and how their family is dealing with it.
I just have to believe God has a reason for this, and my hope is that the reason turns out where I can serve a greater purpose and do good. Patty, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when you kind of think, oh, gosh, could this get any worse? Then you have to think to yourself, sure can. We have 2 healthy children. We're doing well in school. And producers at WLS-AM were monitoring the show and had their hands on the bleep button. As we know, both Patty and Rod have had a history of using 4-letter words, as we heard on the secret federal recordings. Linda and Sylvia, at one point, the two did joke around a little bit about one of those 4-letter words without actually saying it there. It was the PG version.
Go live to Chicago for the latest on her funeral as we meet Jason Knowles. Relatives and friends all gathered to say goodbye to Dawn Brancheau today. She died last Wednesday. What can you tell us about the service, Jason?
Well, good evening, Larry. Yes, I was at the service. I got there really early in the morning because I do the morning live shots. And we were there all morning long, and it started at 11 a.m. There were hundreds of people there, family and friends. We're all there at the service. And, you know, the family really wanted this to be a very private moment, so the family did not speak. But we were able to talk to a lot of family friends that were walking into the service. And I know that you had mentioned earlier that there is this issue whether whales should be kept in captivity or if they should be in these shows. And surprisingly, you know, a lot of the people there were saying that they believe that these whale shows should go on, that this is what Dawn Brancheau would have wanted. And it even reflects, too, on this pamphlet, or the program here, the funeral program you can see for Dawn Brancheau. It says, "A beautiful life came to an end. She died as she lived, everyone's friend." So everybody that at least I talked to at the funeral today was really passionate about that issue, Larry.
Jason, you're with WLS-TV. Why Chicago?
Well, Brancheau is from Northwest Indiana, which is in our viewing area. Her family has a lot of ties to the southwest side of Chicago, and a lot of them have union ties and labor ties. And her father, who we were told had passed, had labor ties, and her brother is a big labor leader in the city's southwest side. So that's where the funeral was, but she's from Northwest Indiana. And I actually also got to go to her high school in Northwest Indiana, a Catholic high school, where, they basically rolled out the red carpet. And even though she's 40 years old and she had graduated about 22 years ago, surprisingly, dozens of people knew her at the high school. We talked to a lot of teachers who remembered her. This is a woman who they say shined, she sparkled, she had quite a personality. And I actually got to look through a lot of her yearbooks and see all of the pictures. She was a homecoming queen, president of the student council. She did everything.
We're doing all right. One of the security guards here at the zoo actually brought us some water and some food, and they're helping some other people as well who have been stuck. Now, the people that we are near who were trapped and who had to be rescued were actually stuck on some buses and some cars around Lakeshore Drive. We are as close to Lakeshore Drive as we can get, and Lakeshore Drive has been closed since last night. Hundreds of people have been rescued off Lakeshore Drive by firefighters. They've been taken to the hospital. What I want to do first, before we go to that video and before you see the pictures of Lakeshore Drive, I want to show you what it looks like right here where I'm standing. You can see what it looks like. There's a bus right in front of our car, and that bus you can see right now is trying to get out. That bus is trapped. There were 4 or 5 other buses in front of it which were also stuck, but a snowplow just came through, cleared the way, and now it looks like we have one more bus left that can get out of this area here on Cannon Drive by the zoo by Lakeshore Drive. So now if we could take a look at these pictures from just about an hour or so ago. This is new video from Lakeshore Drive of people who were getting rescued earlier, and we're hearing that there were about 80 rescues on Lakeshore Drive. That was just near 47th Street. There have been dozens more rescues on the north side near Fullerton and near North Avenue. Firefighters just conducted a final search for some stranded people near North Avenue, and they've been putting up windshield wipers on cars of the rescue motorists so they can keep track of who's been saved and who still needs help. Fire officials are providing medical assistance to motorists on the road. They're also taking people to area hospitals for well-being checks. Some people have been taken to St. Joseph's Hospital and Illinois Masonic Hospital. Some have been stuck for 6-7 hours. They've been running out of gas. And here's some sound now from some people who just got off Lakeshore Drive and who were trapped. Take a listen.
We're at North Avenue right now.
And I showed you earlier on Skype, we were going by some cars and the snow drifts were up to here in the cars and covering them. And you take one wrong turn, Judy and Jose, you go one way and turn around and you're stuck just like that.
Jason, how did it go?
Hi. Yeah, it went very well. I tried my best to win. I obviously didn't. Our friends Ride over at Channel 5 won in the morning show, and I'm sure she's going to be holding up the trophy on the morning show. We don't want you to watch them, though. Watch us. I really had got a lot of compliments. I tried my best. It was extremely hard. My heart was pounding out on the dance floor for a while there. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. I was extremely nervous, but you know what? When it was all said and done, when it was over with, I was extremely happy that I did it. It was quite an opportunity. I think it's always great in life to challenge yourself and try to do something different. And of course, it was for a good cause, which is G. Komen for the cure. And I was glad to be able to help out to raise money for breast cancer.
Yeah, that was a wonderful thing. Now, we're watching your moves right here. Jason, how long was your dance? And did you forget any steps or you got it all?
Well, I have a funny story for you. During the dress rehearsal, something happened. I don't know if it was the lights and seeing
wardrobe malfunction
watching us. Or, no. There could have been if you see her dress. There could have been a wardrobe malfunction. I actually forgot a move, I think, or something happened during the dress rehearsal. So that's why you have dress rehearsal.
Right.
Because I didn't forget anything at all during the actual performance. I remembered all of my steps and moves. Yeah. And I was told that I was a showman, that I was a pretty good showman. And I exaggerated those moves, and I just kept smiling. Yeah. Looking at my partner the whole time. President Obama will be here tonight at Navy Pier for a fundraiser. It will cost about $100 a pop, and it is geared towards a younger group of voters. But there is another fundraiser going on tonight that would cost you about as much as a new car.
Both barricades and the no parking signs are up in President Barack Obama's Hyde Park Kenwood neighborhood. He'll stay in his Chicago home tonight after a night full of fundraising for his re-election campaign.
I've seen his detail come by a few times when he's visited. It's always exciting to see that downtown and streets closed off. And so I think, people are excited to see him back.
His visit starts with a private fundraiser at MK Restaurant for $35,800 a plate. Then the president will attend a $5,000 to $15,000 a plate fundraiser at 9 Restaurant. Then the rally at Navy Pier's Grand Ballroom. That costs $100 to get in and is open to the media. It's hosted by a group of young Obama supporters. Well-known people on the list: Bulls star Derrick Rose and Mayor-elect Rahm Emanuel. Part of the money from the fundraisers will go to the president's 2012 re-election campaign and part to the Democratic National Committee.
I think it's awesome.
People in Obama's neighborhood hope to see the president, and if they could talk to him for just 1 minute.
We just have to give him some time to be able to get the job done. And I think a lot of people aren't being patient enough. But when he took over, it was pretty terrible, and I think things are getting a little better.
So he'll be walking around in Hyde Park?
Maybe.
Okay, I hope I get a glimpse of my president. I love you, Barack Obama.
The president will land at O'Hare around 5 o'clock this evening, and then a chopper will bring him downtown. Then the president and the first lady will actually be back in a couple of weeks to go on the Oprah Winfrey Show. And Sylvia, as we know, it's Oprah's last season, so you got to have the president on.